Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I was going to do this live, but, well, I forgot. That's actually not even true. I am working with a very ghetto setup here, and my tripod may collapse at any time. I figured you didn't want that. So, today I'm going to. This is not an important video. I'm going to say that right now. So, I've had a few people ask me my opinion on the championship format and what I would do. And I've been thinking about it, and I honestly still don't know. I feel like the only fair thing to do would be to have a straight season, start to finish championship, right? Like, whoever has the most wins or the most points or whatever, however they do the points, whoever has the most of them at the end of the year is the champion, right? Well, then you might know who the champion is by the end of July. That might make the rest of the season pretty boring, right? Yep, I know. I don't know how to fix it, though. But it's also, like, incredibly unfair to have somebody with the most wins in the season not be the champion, like we did with Connor Zillage. I still feel like he got robbed from the championship. So that's also a completely unfair way of doing it. Well, I saw today, or maybe it was yesterday, NASCAR has released the TV schedule for next year. So that's interesting. But also, they still have it marked as playoffs, and, like, it looks like this year's format. So does that mean they're not changing anything? Even though Steve O'Donnell said they were going to on the Dell Jr., I don't know which show it was, but it was Wednesday, I believe, after Charlotte. Anyway, he said they were talking about changing it, and they just didn't want to announce it until after this year's championship. So, I have looked. If I missed an announcement, then oops. Maybe it's out there somewhere. But I have looked and I didn't see it. It just seems a little bit weird to me that they put out the TV schedule of times and channels before the playoffs format was decided. So, I don't know what that's all about. And I hope that doesn't mean we're sticking with this current format, because I feel like it's not what it should be. So I have heard lots of different theories on what people think that it should be. And the best one that I have seen, because I really honestly don't think we're going back to a full season's points championship like they used to have years ago. I've only been around as a fan since the chase came into being. And I thought it was stupid then. I don't even remember exactly the format. I just know I didn't like it. And it's better, though, than this deal where somebody who only won twice on the year beats the wins the championship over someone who's won. I think they said it was 10 times. For some reason, I thought it was 11, but I think they said it was 10 officially. Either way, just doesn't seem fair to me. So, I didn't know. They're now the best one that I've heard. It's sort of like a compromise between them. I still feel like there's going to be some unfairness with it. But they divided it up into, I think they said it was like a 3. So, I don't remember who did this. Maybe there was a couple of people. But the best one I saw was the 3. Like, round 1 was 3 like it is now. Round 2 was 3 like it is now. Round 3 was 4. And the best finisher at the end of the 4 was the champion. So if you're going to do it the way we currently have it, that's the best way to do it. However, it makes no sense to have a playoff in a sport where nobody gets eliminated. Think about this. For years, they've been saying, well, we want to be... They haven't said these words, but this is what they say without saying it. We want to be like all the other sports, baseball, basketball, football, whatever it is. We want to have a playoffs. We want to have their version of the World Series, basically. Or in this case, it would be more like their version of the Super Bowl because the World Series is a number of games. So that's what they've more or less created. But I don't like it. But if you're going to do it, why is everybody else still racing? Because in the Super Bowl, how many teams are there? I don't even know how many NFL teams there are, but how many teams are there at the beginning? How many are there at the end? Only 2. So why then do we have 40 cars still racing? It's not really a playoff if you're still racing. But you can't do that because sponsors would get very ticked off if they only got to race until the playoffs and they didn't make it. Because let's just be honest, there's some teams and or drivers that just are never going to be in the playoffs no matter what they do. So the sponsors of those teams won't be very happy if we start eliminating them from competition. So they can't do that. So I don't know what the answer is, honestly. Here's another question, random question. Why do we have to change everything? What? Okay, so we can't have tradition just because it's been tradition. Everything's got to change. I don't like change. If you didn't know this about me, I don't like change. So can't we just leave it the way it was? And for a sport that says they like tradition, they sure do change a lot of things. That's the reason they give for why they can't put a speedometer in the car, right? It's tradition to not have one, so we have to keep that the way it is. Which I think is funny because everything else is changing. But anyway. So I guess if they're going to keep the playoffs, which it looks like they're going to based on things I've heard, I think it was actually on Dale Jr.'s show again. Can you tell I like this show? He was talking to Steve O'Donnell on his way out of the garage. I think it was Junior that said this. Anyway, whoever it was, I guess they were talking about racing the Cup guys in the Xfinity or the O'Reilly next year. It'll be O'Reilly Auto Parts. And he said something about how they wouldn't be allowed to race in the playoffs, which gives away the fact that there will still be playoffs. So there's that. But hopefully they change them somewhat to make them a little bit more fair. I don't know if they can make them fair, but I don't know. I don't like what we have now. As for the TV times and schedules, I tried to read it, but it's a table and I couldn't get my screen reader to read it properly. But it seems like all but a few of NBC's races are on USA Network. Which is all well and good if you got the money to pay for cable, but I don't. So there's more races I'm not watching. I'm not happy, but that's another topic for another day, I guess. Apparently, from what I gathered from the comments I've read, there are more night races, which is cool because I like night races. But I don't know. I wish there was a way we could schedule it to where we didn't have to compete with football, because I think that's really pulling us down in the fall. I don't know how they could fix that, but I wish there was a way to do it. I gotta look at the schedule and see if they still scheduled it super tightly to where there's not really an off weekend to speak of. I kind of feel like both the fans and the drivers were getting less burnout with the schedule that we had several years ago. There was I think it was Mother's Day weekend. They took the whole weekend off, all 3 series. They don't do that anymore. For a while, they were taking Easter weekend off, which I thought was pretty cool, because I don't like the idea of racing on Easter. And then they had a break right before they went into I don't even know if it was the playoffs yet then. It might have been back during the chase days. But either way, right before the championship run, they had a break. Drivers may not like that because they, the momentum is a thing. But I kind of like that schedule. But that doesn't help the TV schedules. I'm a huge fan. Sorry to anybody in the market where there's no CW, but I am a huge fan of always knowing what channel a race is on. I love the fact that I knew every weekend. I might not have known the exact time, but I got a pretty good idea of the time, and I always knew exactly what network was carrying it. I loved that. I didn't even have to think about it. I just knew. I didn't have to look it up. I just knew exactly where the race was going to be every Saturday. It was awesome. Speaking of Saturdays, though, I want to go back to the days where we had a ton of Friday night races. And I know people who are fans of local racing, that's your night to race, I know. But as of yet, I have not figured out a way to go to a local race and be able to watch it or listen to it or whatever. So I can't do that. If I could do that, I would like to figure that out. But I haven't yet figured that out. But I love Saturday night races, Friday night races for NASCAR to be on TV. I even like the Wednesday. One year they had a Wednesday night truck race. I even liked that. I like the Thursday. I like random night races. Or random middle of the week races that are not caused by rain delays. So, anyway, I guess that's all I got for you. If you've stuck around this far, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel and leave me some comments. Tell me your thoughts. What championship format do you want to see? What would you do with the schedule? Give me your thoughts. I might put some of them on a future channel. Or a future channel, a future show. Face your top edge. 12 minutes, 36. Face your top. Stop recording. Pause video. Stop recording video.